Good morning. This is the video for 11-9, a Monday. This was just the first thing I wanted to show you is I had the students, we worked on this problem right here, so if you have a chance, go ahead and you can just do this on a sheet of paper, whatever you'd like, and solve those questions. It's just a really good review, and we reviewed that. Our goal for today was to do the 10s and the 5s facts. We're really working on pushing our multiplication facts. And so in your journal, we had the students write the multiples of 5s and 10s. And then we came up and we started with the zeros times 5, or 0 times 5 is 0, 0 times 10, or 10 times 0 is 0. And we just really reinforced that anything times 0 is going to be 0. And then we decided, we went up and we did the 1 times 5 times 1. And the same thing, we discussed that this is the same little strategy, the same rule that anything times 1 is itself. So 1 times 5 is. And then we got into the fun part. We started going up and we started looking and seeing if we see a pattern. And right now I want you to sit here and think, and pause the video and think of what pattern you see here. Okay. So some of the patterns that the students came up with was they noticed that in the 5s, it went 0, then there's a 5, then a 0 at the end, a 5 at the end, a 0 at the end, a 5 at the end. And then they noticed on the 10s, everything at the end was a 0. And then they noticed that everything they were multiplying by was the same. There was a 1 there, a 2 there, a 2 there. So they decided that they came up with a little rule here that anything times 10 is the same number you multiplied, but you just add a 0 at the end. Which was kind of cool because they actually came up with one where they said, so they asked me a question and they said, is 225 times 10 equals, and they decided and they said that, oh, Mr. Hazen, all I have to do is it's going to be 250 because I just have to, 25 times 1 is 25, and then you add a 0 at the end. So it was a really quick, pretty cool thing to see how they made those connections. And they continued to look and they saw the patterns, and then they came back over to the 5s. And then they noticed that all the even numbers had a 0 at the end. 2, 4, 6, 8. So they came up with the rule that anytime you multiply by 5 by an even number, there's going to be a 0 at the end. Anytime you multiply by 5 and it's an odd number you're multiplying by, it's going to end in a 5. So the only two answers you could possibly have at the end of a multiple of 5 is a 0 or a 5. And it's just another one of those things just to help self-check. And then the next thing they notice is they go, Mr. Hazen, what I noticed right that it skips every other one equals the same thing on the 10. So 5 times 2 is 10. 4 times 5 is 20. 6 times 5 is 30, just as the same as 10 times 3 is 30. And so then I asked the question of why is that? And then they came around and then they decided that if you double 5, you're going to get 10. If you double, and then that's a double here, and if you double, they came up that it's a double. It doubles each time. So when it skips, it's doubled. So right, you double there, you get to the 20. You double that, you get to the 30. And then they also said it the opposite direction where they said it's half right there. So 5 times 2 is 10, and 10 times 2 is 20. So it's half. They noticed that that was a relationship there where it was half. And they noticed that if I go the opposite direction, it's doubled. That's what I was trying to get to. So same thing with here. 2 times 4 is 20. 2 times 2. If you double it, it equals 20. So that's just what I need you to do. There's just our lesson that we discussed yesterday. We went in detail a little bit more. We showed how you can still remember how to do a strip diagram. And then this would be a strip diagram of 3 times 5. Right? 3 groups of 5 equals, or 5 in each group, and there's 3 groups. The 2 different ways to represent a strip diagram. as a group, we came up when we solved this, and to ask what this was, and this would be 10 groups, and each group has 2, so your equation would be 2 times 10 or equals, or 10 times 2, just depending on which one you made the group and which one you made how many is in each group. And so when you have a chance, we went over here and we did page 26 and 27 and page 28 and 29. We worked on those as a group as well. So those are your opportunities to make sure you get those done, really focusing on this aspect. And this is all in your Big Fat Turtle. All right, have a great day.